Welcome back to the 3 battle series. We're now covering the Earth Guas strategy with the Battle of the Hands. So the idea of Earth Gua being all yin, because if you look at the Earth Gua, right, it's 3 broken lines on top of each other. So that means everything is yin. So the most yin, much like we talk about with Tai Chi, is to disappear, to fall upon nothing. And so that's exactly how we're going to interpret it today, right? So if he's going to attack me, right, the typical response is like, I'm going to block this somehow, or I'm going to parry this, right? There's going to be some form of contact, right? Something that they're expecting. So the way that we're going to do this, right, is if he goes to punch, right, don't contact, or have very minimal contact, right? Because at this point where if we go slow, where I'm going to meet his punch and he's punching through me, there's this expectation that there's going to be something there, right? Where he's going to have a struggle here. Right? But if this happens, right, if I bring up my hands and then suddenly there's not that, right, they tend to overcommit and you can slip right by. So this is what the major point of this is about not meeting their expectations. If you cannot meet your opponent's expectations, then you're one step ahead of them. So in this not meeting their expectations is that they're expecting this to clash or to deflect in some way, shape, or form. Like if he goes to punch and I go to block like this is like something that you might expect. But something that you might not expect is, just not even contacting at all, or very minimal contact where there's this clash, right? So I can slip by here where I let this come underneath as this hand goes to engage this hand to keep myself safe, or then this can slip by here. Or I can just let this turn right here where I go from this clash to just drawing past, and from here I can slip into whatever, right? And if I go the inside way, right, I go for this clash, but then he has this other hand here, again, another feigned clash. So we go a little bit closer so you can see what's happening here, right, is he's expecting this, but I don't give him that, I go here, right? And then he goes to attack, right? He's expecting this clash, I don't let that happen. You can even see this in Wing Chun, like with the Bong Sao, where he goes to meet, but I turn it to the side and then return with Lap Sao. So these are the kinds of things that you can think about with it, is that there's this expectation that when you have this aggression or this fight, that there's going to be clash. And then when there's suddenly this moment of expectation meeting reality, and it's not meeting up to your expectations, then that's where there's a moment of, the brain doesn't quite understand what's happening at that point. It's that moment where the brain reassesses the situation. Because whenever you touch, right, we have our sense of touch, which is translated by the nerves receiving this information, going to the brain interprets that information, and then it returns to the nerves, and that assigns a feeling. That's how we maintain our sense of touch. That's how we feel things, right? So it's all about the expectations of the nervous system. When you suddenly change that, it changes the whole game, right? So if he's expecting that clash and I don't give it to him, right, he might be overcommitting. So that's the basic understanding of it, and that's how you can interpret the Earth strategy, is to disappear or to redirect. You can even write, or if he's advancing this way, I can retreat myself so that he has nothing to fall upon. My teacher, my first sensei when I was learning karate when I was a little tyke, would always say the best defense is not being there. So this is basically that to a key. Wherever he intends to fall upon, I'm not going to be there, right? So in this, right, this is where he expects me, but I'm not there anymore. So in the same way I can move my body, right, or I cannot be there anymore. He was expecting me here, now I'm here. So just always find yourself somewhere where, he's not expecting you. If he's expecting me here, I want to be here, or over here, right? Meeting him here. Never be where the opponent wants you to be. Always be keeping him guessing. Let his attacks fall upon nothing, because then it provides no strain to you as well, right? Whenever we clash, right, I'm receiving impact to my bones, which over time, or if it's a hard enough blow, can injure me. But that's not going to happen if you don't give it anything about it, right? So instead of clashing, I just let my hand slip by. So that's how you can see the Earth strategy with the Battle of the Hands. See you in the next video.